Welcome back to Talk That Talk with Meesh and Jay. I'm Meesh. To the left of me is my bro, Jay.
Yep.
Look, if you are new here, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you are true here, you already know what to do. Get your smokes, get your drinks, but make sure you've liked, comment, and subscribed. Your ass should already be.
Subscribe.
Hey, thank you, y'all. Make sure y'all subscribe, okay? Please, all right? And like it, because it's a free way to support our channel. All right, we have Trending Topics Podcast. You don't like a topic today, you'll like a topic tomorrow. So please make sure to stay here, stick with us, and like, comment, and subscribe. It is very, very, very important. We love you in advance, okay? All right. Oh, yeah, look. I don't know if we're going to get into anything before we jump into this topic of conversation. We got a little bit to cover because we're going to talk about Diddy's verdict because we are a little bit behind. We did take a little break. And then we're also going to go into the lawsuit that came out against Cassie. So we're going to talk about that. So please, if you want to get to that, there should be timestamps. Just fast forward to that. And if you want to stay here and just kick it, kick it. All right? But we love y'all. Oh, yeah, and we need 1,000 subscribers, too. That's our goal. Our goal, we're on the road to 1,000 subs. We thank you for all those who subscribe to our channel already and who are coming back and hanging with us and sticking with us. We appreciate you, and we love you for sure. All right?
Yep, we know it. Appreciate you all. Let's get to that 1,000. We trying to put a plaque back there up on the wall.
Please. We want that plaque. Okay?
That's right.
We trying to get there.
Uh-huh.
All right, you two playing games here. Anyway. So, we had anything before we start?
We can start.
Y'all lucky today. Okay. All right, cool. We ready then. All right. Nothing needed. We're just going to get right into it. First things first, we have to address the Diddy verdict. If anybody coming here, you should probably already know because I think we got the verdict, last week?
Yep.
Look at this, man. He called us over here celebrating.
I tried to tell y'all. They got that man for just up there just being nosy because he being nasty like all y'all been doing. Like I said.
I mean, I don't think they've been doing it like he been doing it, though. I ain't even going to lie. That's a different level of nasty.
Yeah, okay.
Like I said, the sexual education I've learned throughout following this case is diabolical. Yeah. Okay? That's a different level of sex that I don't think I'd ever need in my lifetime. They learned it
from somewhere. Trust me.
Right.
He ain't make it up on his own.
That's true. No bullshit. Yeah, but that's what it is to be in the industry. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, so look. So his verdict is he last week he was found guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. After an 8-week trial, he faces up to 10 years in prison on each count. Though legal analysts predict he will get much less. He was acquitted of the more serious charges of which he was accused of racketeering, conspiracy, and trafficking, y'all. So he had 5 counts, 3 of those, right? He was acquitted of.
That's right. And okay. all the bigger ones.
The bigger ones he was acquitted of. So they could not prove the RICO. They could not prove
at all.
The RICO at all. And I believe they couldn't prove anything because the only co-conspirator that he really had was the person that he was in relation with, sleeping with, things of that nature. Okay? So they did get him on the prostitution because just like I think me and Jay had this conversation before, prostitution is illegal in almost all 50 states except for one state that allows, right, in Nevada, they allow the prossies, okay? So you can't buy prostitutes, you can't be a prostitute unless you want to go to jail, okay? And that's just simple as that. So that's what he got 2 charges, and I think they called that the Mann Act. The Mann Act. So that's what he's guilty on for that. So you got your celebrations out? You got a little more to say about that? Oh my God.
I done told y'all when this thing came out. Man. Now, I will say,
okay,
again, he should have never put his hands on Cassie in that hotel. He's guilty of that.
Yeah, definitely domestic
violence. But that's not what he went to trial for. You know what I mean? They try to get him on some other things. I don't condone violence. I don't condone men hitting women, dragging them, kicking them. None of that stuff. I don't. There was it's no reason or rhyme for it.
Right.
But with that said, again, he was on trial for being a nasty man. And I personally don't think that he should have been on trial for being a nasty man. He should have been on trial for smacking Cassie around in that hotel. Period. Now they tried to use the RICO and all that stuff to get him back for that. Wrong answer. Prosecutors, you got smacked around in that courtroom.
They did. I feel the prosecution did a bad job. And that's just my personal opinion. I feel like the prosecution could have went a different route. I think they knew they couldn't prove what they said they were going to prove from the beginning. And like for me, I'm looking for the RICO. I'm looking for the organizational thing that they claim he was doing.
I mean, because he was in it basically by himself with Cassie, with maybe the prostitutes that he brought on. Yeah. And like he had a big orgy. Everybody's in on it. He making them do it, locking them up in there. Everybody, you know what I mean, and paying for it.
I think had he been drugging the people and he stayed completely sober, that would have been.
He was doing everything they were doing. He was
pretty much getting it into doing it, whatever drugs
he was having fun too.
He was involved, just as involved, and it's hard to say that. You know, I mean, I'm just saying. Look, for me, he could go to jail.
Damn.
Jail. He could go to jail. You know what I'm saying? But I do.
Well, he's still going in for a little bit.
Yeah, he's going in there for a little bit.
Just
but I think following it, I was still looking for a little more than I got. I'm like,
well, you would have got that if it was a criminal trial with him hitting Cassie.
Yeah, right.
You would have got that most definitely.
Yeah.
But because it wasn't that, you just wasn't getting.
Right, you wasn't going to get that. But also, like, where was the racketeering at? That's my thing. So they're saying racketeering, they couldn't prove it because they didn't really prove. They just didn't prove it. I don't care. Anybody coming here? Oh, we're victim blaming. You not listening. Where was the racketeering at? Other than people was like, oh, that could have been the people setting up the hotel rooms. Well, he's rich. Yeah. I could have somebody set up a hotel room for my wife or for anybody that I want to make it real nice. I could put oil, bowls of this and rose petals and whatever.
Well, one of my exes, I had somebody hook up a hotel for me. Yeah. You know what I mean? All that. I did that.
Yeah, I done it.
You know what I mean? Set up a massage person to be in there. Yeah. All that. I done that.
He just had enough money to continuously do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As much and as often as he wanted to do that. You know what I'm saying?
So should I go to jail for that?
And then he hired the hoes. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I'm not, like I said, I'm not condoning any of his other behaviors because, like I said, I know he was on it for arson, things that they couldn't prove. You know, if they could have proved that, I think he would have had an arson charge, but they couldn't prove that. Mm-hmm. And I think that the whole dangling, you know, like the coercion and intimidation, maybe dangling people off a building. Like if they could really prove, they couldn't.
You gotta put. You gotta catch them on a phone, camera phone, or some type of camera. If you ain't got it, you don't know. That's just he say, she say.
Yeah. So that's the reason why. I mean, that's just my perspective on the reason why that they couldn't find. Like I understand the jury. They couldn't truly find him on racketeering because the judge said without a shadow of a doubt, it gotta be without a shadow of a doubt. You gotta know. For sure. We can't just say it's something that it's not.
Right.
It ain't like he in a gang. Like he literally.
And if the person that got dangled off the building didn't go straight to the police right then and there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Then what are we talking about?
Yeah. And I mean, but then again, because a lot of people keep saying, well, he's dangerous. He's dangerous. So they were scared to go.
So they say.
I personally,
I mean, I'm not around there. I don't know him personally. Yeah. I personally don't think he that as scary as they say he is. I think, like you said, I think he a little, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Little girly, like a little soft.
He got a little sugar.
I mean? Yeah. So I personally don't think he a gangster. You know what I mean?
No. Absolutely not.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely not.
He might can cuss somebody out. Yeah. You know what I mean? Kick people out of his house.
I think when he under the influence now, when he under influence certain drugs, he could change. Mm-hmm. But I think when he not on them drugs, he don't do none of that. That's my personal opinion. Right. I think he got to be on that, whatever he be on, and that take him to another level. And I think that's what a lot of the people probably were experiencing, especially Cassie, you know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean,
and this been going on for a while, right? Since 2008, 9, 13.
Long time.
Now you telling me anybody with that type of industry, people hear about things, things like that, and you telling me Nobody said nothing. Nobody knows about his behavior. Mm-hmm. But then he's still coming up with new girlfriends and new people come to the house and new baby mamas that still plan on messing with him.
Yeah, but people would say that's his money. That's his money that's drawing them in, regardless of whether he's abusive or not, or whatever that situation may be. His money is was alluring.
I got you. So you saying either Cassie? So what's the little baby name? Love what's the little baby? So that baby mama there didn't get the same treatment.
Not that I know of.
You know what I mean?
Not that I know of.
And obviously, what's her name? That Young Miami didn't get the same treatment. So he just all of a sudden just stopped being that way.
Yeah.
After Shorty.
Hey man, I can't say nothing.
You know what I'm saying?
Prosecution couldn't prove it, so I mean, they took it to court. They thought they had something. They didn't have shit.
I could have been in the courtroom and won that case.
No, and he didn't even have to defend himself.
No, he ain't say nothing.
Yeah, he ain't say anything
because he knew better.
Yeah, so I mean,
and then he got the money to buy the most powerful lawyers too.
He did. He had a lot of lawyers too on his side.
Yeah, and
also I heard he might have been paying some of the families. I think some of the families of the witnesses or something. Somebody he was giving them. I don't know. People was getting on stand. Some of the families was being paid off or something. I said. I mean, I don't really. I don't know how he's still doing it, but I'm sure he still has money. He
definitely got money.
People. I think he's gonna do what he need to do to get out. That's just what it is. But he's still gonna get some time on that prostitution. You just can't go around doing that. And I think that's just what they got.
I think he's only gonna get between 3 and 5 years.
3 to 5.
That's it. Because the max is 10. I mean, 5 for each charge, the 2 charges. But he's not gonna get all 10. 3 to 5 with time served. He served a year. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then probably whatever behavior and credit that they're going to give him. Right. 3 to 5. That's it. He'll be out before you know it. He'll be out before that for behavior. He may get a year or so and then rest is probation.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
I mean, just for smashing?
Yeah.
Being nasty?
I know. And it's too much sex for me that I'm hearing. Like, it's just too much. And it was just a lot of personal information that I feel like it was just humiliating, to be honest. I mean, not that he didn't deserve it. I think that things that he's done might have warranted him to deserve some of the embarrassment that he's experiencing now. But outside of that, I mean, hey, it is what it is. I mean, he already in there. I think his career is ruined, in my personal opinion.
Nah.
I do.
He'll get over it.
He'll get over it, but people won't. Brand deals and all, they not going to mess with him. Brands and stuff, he's done in. Ain't nobody working with him. They gonna be like, oh, you affiliated with him? Oh, no, we can't mess with you. He can't be touched at this point. Who gonna work with him? Kanye? Because Kanye don't care. He gonna
Kanye work with
him. He don't care.
He still got money, and he still has his business. They didn't take it from him,
right?
So he can. Right. He'll make it somewhere. He'll get it.
I'm sure he'll hustle, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So look, I done tripped across. Okay. Clayton Howard. So this is what the main topic of this video is about. Clayton Howard. He is an ex-worker who serviced Cassy and Diddy for around 7 years, he says. And he got some stories to tell. But he is out suing Cassy right now. I don't really know for how much. But let me see. Let me go on here and just give y'all some information. But he is suing Cassy right now. All right, so look. So it says, Clayton Howard, a male escort, has filed a civil lawsuit against Cassy Ventura. So this is a man suing Cassy. And Diddy Combs, alleging that he was drug manipulated and traumatized during his involvement in their freak-offs and actual encounters. Howard claims Cassy actively participated in and even drove the alleged exploitation, leveraging Combs' influence to manipulate him into participating in these acts. Howard's lawsuit filed after Combs' recent criminal trial includes several serious accusations. Actually transmitted disease. He alleges that Cassy gave him an STD, which he believes was contracted during their actual encounters. I believe this was chlamydia. I believe he says he gave her chlamydia. She gave him chlamydia. Forced abortion. Okay, I'm only going to say, y'all know what I'm talking about when they terminate, terminate the pregnancy, okay? Howard claims Cassy became pregnant with his child during one of the freak-offs and did the damn thing without his knowledge or consent. So she went to the doc, double homicides, whatever how that go. without his consent. Okay, he was upset about that. Actual exploitation and abuse. He describes being trafficked across state lines from 2009 for the purpose of commercial sex, which he says was for their actual fetishes and personal ambitions. He also claims that he was forced into degrading and unwanted actual acts, including prolonged masturbation sessions that caused him physical pain, manipulation, and coercion. Howard states that he was drugged and manipulated by both Cassie and Combs, who were allegedly involved in a toxic and abusive relationship themselves. He felt coerced into continuing his involvement due to fear of retaliation from Combs and his need for money. Physical and psychological trauma. Howard is seeking compensation for significant damages, including psychological and physical injury, lost wages, medical expenses, and emotional distress. So his lawsuit highlights the ongoing legal challenges facing Combs despite the acquittal. So your boy is out here basically saying Cassie is not innocent. That's what he's saying. I'm just giving y'all the facts of what he's saying.
Facts.
He said Cassie's not innocent.
She ain't.
I'm gonna give a couple.
I said it.
I'm gonna play a clip.
I said she was right along with him. I said it.
Yeah. Like he the way he was describing it as if basically Cassie had a lot more control than she made it look like on that stand. Where she made it seem like he made her have sex on her cycle when really she coerced him, like she tricked him because he would have never wanted to do that. Cassie tricked him into doing it on the cycle. So it's kind of like Cassie said, Sean made her do it. But he really didn't. She said that, but he knew about it though. I guess he knew Cassie was on. Mm-hmm. So what happened was this one story. He said she not forced him, but he got on her not knowing because the room was dark. He said he ain't know, but when he got up, he said it looked like a massacre down on there, blood everywhere. She was real heavy on her cycle. Right. And he said he got up and said, "Oh, B, da." So he was cussing her out. Diddy came out there and offered this man money. I don't know what was it, $1,500 or $5,000, whatever, on top of the money he already paid him to like stop cussing Cassie out. So he came out as a man like, look, man, she just had to have your diz now. Yeah, she had to have it on her cycle and that. That's what he told him. That's what Diddy told him. Now this could be cap. This could be that. Diddy told him that. But the way he's saying he believed Diddy. He believed Cassie had to have that. Okay? She was sick with it. I don't know if y'all watched that movie Black Snake Moan with Samuel Jackson in it. Yeah. That's the way he describing Cassie as if she like how she was. And like she just jump on it. She just had to. It could be
true. For her to be sticking around with all Diddy's shenanigans, sexual shenanigans, you don't think she's not crazy like that?
I know. So
she got to be crazy.
Let me play some of his voice because he got some conversation. Because a lot of women saying that he is coming out, he's lying. You know, of course they got he's lying. He ain't. You know, because of course people still see Cassie as a victim, which I do, far as the domestic violence part and far as like the fact that she was so young when she got with Diddy. So I do still see her as a victim. But let's just hear his side. We just gonna hear him. So he goes on Tasha K, y'all. And he says a little something, so I got a clip.
I met Daniel Phillip in an orgy at Cassie's apartment in one of the Trump buildings in Midtown Manhattan. I believe it was 2011. That's where I met Daniel Phillip in an orgy where I was called by Cassie to have a sexathon. And basically, the goal of this sexathon was for one of us to last the longest. Whoever lasts the longest was going to become her main boy toy. Tasha K, I see your face. This is the truth. So for 2 days, myself and Daniel Phillip, we participated in this sexathon, Sex and Cassie. Daniel Phillip hung on there, but I think I think it was a Wednesday morning, actually. I think the morning of the wrap-up of the thing, he finally couldn't participate anymore. Not because something's wrong with him. He had been up 2 days. He's back to back having sex with her. He was tired. So he couldn't perform anymore, but I still could. So I finished her off, I end up winning. Diddy comes out the room after he carries her in the other bedroom. He pays Daniel Phillip. Daniel Phillip leaves. He comes to me. He tells me out his own mouth. He says, listen, she said you were the best penis she ever had in her life. Really? He said, yeah. He says, yo, she wants you to come back. She just needs some time to rest. I said, all right. Now, I had been there 2 days, Tasha. I needed to go to work. I was an optician. I don't even think I was escorting anymore at the time because I only started escorting because I was in prison. I got released. I had a great body. I was good with women. So someone hired me to be an escort. So maybe a year or two into it, I stopped. I got a job. I was an optician. I was trying to get my life together. I didn't have time for that. But Cassie paid me so well. It was kind of like a no-brainer. Beautiful woman, $5,000 every time I got to break her down. What
Damn, 5 G's.
5 G's every
Hold
time.
on, what
to
kind
bust
of?
her down?
First of all, what kind of cooter does Cassie got to go on a exathon that long?
That's what I'm saying.
And that joke ain't dried and beat up.
No, so look, the conversation that they had on Tasha K is another thing he talked about. And now I'm glad you brought that up. She asked what were her walls like. You know, she tripping. Tasha K, she said, what was her walls
that
like?
That mean wasn't no walls.
And he was frank about it. He said, look.
That joint wide open.
He said half the time when he couldn't even nut. He said, I couldn't even nut.
Because he couldn't feel nothing.
Yeah. So your boy wrote a book, y'all, real quick. So I just want to make sure y'all know what this book is, just in case y'all haven't run across the information yet. It's called Cassie, Victim or Co-Conspirator, My Experiences Inside of a Diddy Freak-Off. That's on Amazon. So he details all his experience with Cassie. The same stuff he's saying now, he already wrote it in a book prior to. So just so y'all know, okay? So we're going to get him to explain a little more real quick, and then we're going to get into our discussion here.
What it says is that Cassie had an abortion, and I disappeared for several months, and she had an abortion. And then in the following sentence, it explains that even though she had an abortion, she continued to sleep with me, forgive me, it's a little early, for years. Now, the reason I mention that is not to embarrass Cassie. Again, I've explained to the general public that for almost a year, I tried to quietly work behind the scenes with Cassie. The truth of the matter is this, ladies who want to hate on me, people who want to claim I have no victimhood. I said this to you yesterday, I'm going to say it again. Cassandra Ventura did this to herself. She's a pathological liar. She lied through her teeth to try to avoid the criminality of the situation that she was in with Puffy. Neither one of them were co-conspirators. They were just a freaky couple into freaky stuff that created this grand scheme to manipulate male escorts throughout the states. And they did this for over a decade. So now, Cassie should not have been the government's star witness. Cassie should have been a co-conspirator. But the government, these 6 white women prosecutors, and I don't say this because I think they're racist. I believe that the unity of their ethnicity created a very strong feministic bond with Cassie and the women who were abused in this case. And so they, as women, not racist, decided to use their feminist stance to prosecute Diddy as a DV offender instead of as a RICO offender. And they tried to incorporate his domestic violence to make them RICO-worthy offenses. That was wrong. Don't be mad at me, Me2, because I'm exposing Cassie to be a liar. You should be mad at the U.S. Attorney's Office for wasting millions of your taxpayer dollars to prosecute a man for a lie. People, I'm not trying to embarrass Cassie, people. I contacted Douglas Wigborn for months. I may not agree with Tyrone Blackburn. I may not think he's the most ethical attorney, but he did reach out to Cassandra Ventura several times and allow them the opportunity to mediate this before it hit the general public.
Yeah, so he say he tried to settle it with her before it hit to the general public, but I guess she ain't trying to come up off that 30,000 or 40,000, however much she got. And yeah, so he's saying a lot. And if y'all go to Tasha K's interview, she has a whole, I listened to the whole thing. He reveals like a lot about the fact that she aborted the baby and then still demanded that he, did it to her without the condom. He was saying that she gave him chlamydia, and so he refused. He still went after that to do her because of the money. He said he needed the money because he went to jail. Yeah. But he said that he demanded to use a condom at that time, right? And it brings me back to the moment when everybody was saying how Diddy had to see them not use a condom. Right. So what happened was they actually made a compromise with this guy, and he said he would have to release his semen in a cup for them. But he said that even started making him feel uncomfortable because he said he didn't know what they was doing with his semen. He like, okay, why do I got to keep doing it in a cup? Right. You know what I'm saying? For y'all, like, he said DNA, anything. I don't know what y'all doing with my shit. But I guess it explains the whole, Diddy do need the finishings. So if he didn't want to do it in Cassie, it wasn't forced. It's just, okay, give it to us in a cup. And he said they would take it in the room together. So then that kind of, so he's making some sense there. So it's kind of like some of the stories are mixed to make it look like that she wasn't like the way she was, and that he basically made her do everything that she did, when really in reality she did have some control. She was into swinging just like he was. Damn right. And I'm guessing he got her into it, but I think she real life was into the lifestyle.
She loved it. She liked it.
I mean, from what he said, I'm not saying I'm not quick to just believe this guy, but I do feel like he's.
But that's slander. That's like, you know, she can get him for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For ain't he put a book out? Why would he do that? That's a whole lot of lying.
Yeah, he put a whole
Come on
book
now.
out.
Why would you spend enough time to write a book, go on Tasha K and do all this slander if it ain't true?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But why he ain't get Cassie on criminal charges? I gotta ask you that question. Why he ain't hit her with the crim shit?
What? Ain't no dude doing that. Ain't no dude doing that. When you ever seen the dude do that to a woman?
I mean, that's true. Most men don't.
And then, of course, you know,
but he knows she got that money now. So
well, then it's not criminal. You need to do civil.
He is doing civil. That's what he's doing.
Oh,
he's trying to get.
But then he doing what he's supposed to do.
He was trying to settle with her, but I guess she won't settle. So now he's like going to the public with it, type of thing. So he pretty much getting Cassie back, and I think he feels like, yeah, I guess for him, and he was sleeping with her for 7 years, so he knows a lot. He knows a lot of things, and he was saying that he only ever seen Diddy really, put his hands on her whenever she was doing things behind his back. Mm-hmm. He said like she would want him to continue to do it to her or do things to her when he would go take a phone call or something. So if he catch her like busting a nut or something, you know what I'm saying, behind his back, this is when he get mad, cuss her out, want to hit her, all that. You know what I'm saying? Even I do believe there were other moments because we talk about he's only existing in moments of sex and not outside of sex. So he can only speak to his experience in the hotel room. But yeah, he said that's the only time he's seen it, like actually when they would do the freak off thing. Like, when she tried to be sneaky and just get him to do it to her without him being there watching. Right. He also said he had a really small penis, and that was another reason why he wanted other men to do it. Mm-hmm. He would also want to, he'd say Diddy would want to compete with him. So when he would see him have Cassie legs shaking and all that. He said Diddy would jump on top of her to try to, redeem himself and all.
Faking. You can't do it. If you can't get it done, you ain't never going to get it done.
I know.
Just calm down.
Can't get it done.
Get you a penis pump or something, Diddy.
I know, man. Yeah, but all in all, that's what he been saying, y'all. I mean, it's much more out there, but, that's the gist of it. Cassie being sued is interesting to me, but I feel like it's a little bit of karma because if she did lie, let's say we all believe in Cassie's a victim. Like I want.
It's all about her getting hit and beat and dragged down the thing, and that's why everybody's on her side. But so it's easy for her to tell her side story and we believe it. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, and do I think Diddy has some monstrous ways, especially while he's on drugs? I absolutely
most
agree
definitely
with that. But I also agree that sometimes she was on drugs too. So if it could change Diddy, it could change her.
Most definitely.
So how do we know, how she really was acting in certain times? Because when you feel like you a queen bee and you in certain positions, especially when you get with a certain man of a certain caliber, and I feel like that's the way he was describing it, that Cassie was like giving Queen B, like she was next to him.
Yeah.
And he said
definitely.
she was supposed to be doing music and she was being lazy.
Right.
He said he would hear Diddy have conversations with her about what is she doing with her music.
Right.
Watching, and she'd be like, oh, I'm just chilling. I'm waiting and just brainstorming right now. But he said he would always hear her say that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like.
She was just enjoying being around him and being there.
Just being luxury lifestyle.
Yeah, the luxury.
Just living a lifestyle and being on drugs and whatever, which she was young. I mean, what young girl not gonna want to already just be taken care of, be rich, any little thing you want, just at your palm of the hand. Like that shit is very attractive, but that's why I say either way for him and for her, money. That's what gets y'all niggas caught up in these situations.
Yeah, most definitely.
You catching STDs, dude, because you keep going up
crazy.
there.
That's crazy work.
Yeah. So that's my thing, and then you don't stop. You go ahead and keep going back. I'm just going to use a condom now. What if he wanted you to go down and eat the coop? You feel me?
I'm sorry. I know he did that too.
Yeah, had to. So I'm like, man, it's so much more, y'all. So please, look, we up out of here. I just wanted to make sure I brought that to light. You know what I'm saying? I mean, hey, we here to report whatever comes out. All right. So that's what I did today. Yep. That's what we did today.
That's right.
All right. So look, we need subscribers, y'all. 1,000 subscribers. That's our goal. Like, comment, and subscribe. We love y'all. All right, I'm Meesh. To the left me is my bro Jay. Peace.